So welcome back to the workshop, and I'm just in the middle of finishing or applying the finish to standard 19, and you can see that once that finish starts going on to this beautiful figured sapele, how the grain really pops, as does the grain on the lovely Macassar head overlay there. Yeah, so whilst I'm finishing this, I'm going to start preparing some of the components, some of the material for the next mandolin, which will be standard 20, would you believe? So in this video, I'm just going to concentrate on the soundboard, and the soundboard that I'm using started life as a guitar soundboard. And as I say, if you're making mandolins and you buy a guitar soundboard, you should be able to get two mandolin tops out of the one guitar one. This is a piece of Western red cedar, and it's from Touchstone Tonewoods, and it's one of their super selected range, so a really high quality piece of wood. But before I join it, the surfaces are obviously rough sawn, so I want to clean up these surfaces to make sure there aren't any hidden blemishes that I need to take into account. So after giving these a quick once over with my jack plane, haven't taken too much wood off because I like to keep it as thick as possible before I join them. But I can see that indeed this will make a very nice soundboard. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, but there are lots of medullary rays going across here, which show that the wood is really pretty much perfectly quarter sawn. Hence I guess the super selected status of it. Having cleaned up both edges with the jack plane, I'm just going to have a bit of a test fit, and the way I do that is to apply pressure in the middle and see if the ends move. And if the ends move, then I know that it's high here and here. So I've got to concentrate on just taking a few shavings out of the middle and leaving the ends. And again, I'll apply pressure there, and what I can now see is that it's binding at this end. I'll be able to hear it. It's not at that end, and there's now a bit of a gap here, and it's really tight here. So I know where to take the wood off. So after some very careful planing on these edges now, if I apply some pressure there and try to move it, it's really touching, binding at that end. You can hear it. It's doing the same in the middle there, same at that end. So I'm pretty confident now that that is touching perfectly all the way along, and it's ready to glue. So I'm just having a dry run here, and you can see that because this soundboard is this awkward shape, I cut these notches out, and that allows me to apply pressure with the clamps at 90 degrees to the glue joint, and in that way nothing slides around. So happy with that, how that is. So now we can do the real thing with glue. Well, the two halves of the soundboard have now been glued together using tight bond, and I always use two strips of wood, clamping the soundboard down to some kind of backboard just so that they don't kind of twist in a sort of vertical plane relative to one another. So yeah, that will be now left 24 hours, and tomorrow I can clean the board up and take it down to the right thickness. So there's the Western Red Cedar front glued up, and I'm going to take it down to its final thickness now using my sanding machine. And to be honest, I'd be lost without this machine these days. They're not essential, and I have paid my dues. I think probably my first 50 or 60 instruments I did all of the thicknessing of the wood by hand using a plain cabinet scraper and abrasive paper, but I had a commission for a matching pair of instruments made from African blackwood, and I just couldn't thickness it by hand, so that's when I made the investment into this piece of kit. And I shall be measuring it with my thickness calipers, which I must have had for, well, I guess it's pushing 50 years now, and this dates them. There you are, that's where it was made, DDR, East Germany. Anyway, enough of this, I better crack on. Soundboard is down to the correct thickness, about 3.3 millimeters. I've put it into this jig of mine to enable me to cut the sound hole. It being one of my standard mandolins, I don't have a rosette, so I'll do the sound hole straight away. If I was doing a rosette, the rosette would be inlaid and then the sound hole cut. One hole. So having cut the sound hole, that edge is quite fragile, so it needs to be protected, and I like to use a very fine strip of ABS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gradually trim the length of this so it kind of wedges itself, and springs itself into the sound hole, and then I'll glue it in place. So at the moment it's a little bit long, so this is quite a long process actually to get this absolutely spot on. Constant trial and error. The strip of ABS is now sitting in there perfectly. It's under tension, so I put some tape on there because the last thing that you want to happen is to start gluing it and it kind of springs out. Yeah, so what I can do now is I can run some acetone around the edge there, and the acetone melts the surface of the ABS, and then it acts like a glue and bonds it to the wood. When you put the acetone there, because the plastic's is in close contact with the wood, you can see the capillary action, and it just kind of wicks through the joint. And there we have it, the prepared Western Red soundboard, sound hole cut out, fully bound, ready for the next standard mandolin. So what I wanted to show you in this video was how much work it really takes to get from something like this, the raw soundboard if you like, to this stage where we're ready to put the bracing on. So that's going to be set aside for a while, and the next time I see you, hopefully I'll be giving you a demo of standard mandolin number 19. So until then, you take care, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers.